Hey, what's up, YouTube? All right, it is day 5. I have live streamed 5 days in a row. What kind of person would do that? You're seeing it right now. 5 days in a row. I've talked a lot this week, but I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to you guys and answering questions. And I've been Skyping and Googling Hangout with you guys and all kinds of stuff. And we've been raising funds for our new studio, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But it's actually been really great. And this whole week, and especially everything with the election and the last debate and everything else, it's like all the stuff that I've been talking about and classical liberalism and trying to save the left from itself and being okay with having conservatives and liberals and anarchists and neocons and everybody that's enjoying the show at several different levels for all kinds of different reasons. It's been pretty awesome. So we're going to do this for a little bit, and then I'm going to do a patron-only chat, a patron-only video stream on YouTube. For anyone that's on Patreon. Normally it's $15 and above, but even if you do $1 or whatever, we'll get you on there. For that, we're gonna do that after this. And you can see all week long I've been in t-shirts, just hanging around the house. I'm actually just coming back. I did a video with PragerU. So most of you probably know who Dennis Prager is. He's a radio host and he's had some TV shows. An interesting conservative commentator. I met him on Larry King's show we were on once. I was on as the liberal, he was on as the conservative. They wanted us to fight about a lot of stuff, but we actually agreed and came to agree on disagree on some stuff. Really good guy. So they wanted me in there. They do these interesting videos on YouTube. It's similar actually in a way to some of the stuff we do. I think their tagline is big ideas, small videos or something like that, or big ideas, short videos. Anyway, they wanted me to come on. They usually get conservatives on, so they wanted a liberal to come on and talk about the regressive left tonight. And I did. I haven't said much about the regret. That's a word that I've sort of used less lately, but I talked about that and I enjoyed it. I think it'll be up soon. They do some cool animation stuff with it. And it was fun being over there. They actually, Ben Shapiro was there. I guess they share an office with Daily Wire. And there were a bunch of, people who said they enjoy what I do, and that's always nice to hear. So, all right, so we're gonna do this for, I don't know, half hour or so, maybe 40 minutes. And I'm answering questions.
This is a half an hour. Then the Patreon.
Oh, right. This has to be a half hour because we're going to do the Patreon thing right after. And then I'm taking off the weekend. There will be no more video streams this weekend. I might even not tweet this weekend. Possibly. We'll see about that. First off, did you get, there was this huge, I guess, hack today or whatever. Half the internet went down. So Twitter was down. What else was down? PayPal was down. Netflix was down. Reddit was down. It was nuts. But I have to say, not being on Twitter for a little bit, I felt like I was free. I thought Neo crashed the Matrix, and I was like, oh my God, we're all free. We're going to find out the meaning of life. Anyway, so we are raising funds for our new studio. That's what we're doing all week. And it's going great. So real quick, I'll just do some house cleaning, then I'm happy to answer some questions and stuff. So it's RubinReport.com/donate, where you can donate on PayPal or Patreon, Patreon.com/RubinReport. We have 5 slots left at the $100 level if you want to be in the group hangouts that we do, the Google Hangouts. It's all video, small, intimate, 10 or less people chats that we do every month. It's really cool. We were completely sold out of them, so we opened up 10 more. We only have 5 left right now. So I'd love to knock those out tonight. And then we'll do the Patreon chat after this. And then, we'd love to hit 26 grand tonight. The ultimate goal is 30. But we're starting to double content next week. I'm giving live shout outs, by the way, to anyone that donates on either platform, RubinReport.com/donate. Live shout outs while you're here. All right, so let's take some questions and then let's get the weekend started. Okay,
yeah, who would you go straight for?
Who would I go straight for? The running joke between David and I is that we both love to do Megyn Kelly. I feel like it would be like violent and weird. All right, Megyn Kelly, but that one's kind of a joke. I like that, what's her name? Who's that girl that I like? I like that Amanda Peet. I like Amanda Peet. There you go. I'll do Amanda Peet. Oh, I know that's getting clipped. I'll do Amanda Peet next week on the Rubin Report. All right.
Has the Rubin Report replaced the PBS pledge drive? And if so, will you show the Nutcracker online this week?
Has the Rubin Report replaced the PBS Nutcracker Drive? It's funny. I did a PBS fundraiser once when a couple years into stand-up. They don't get like the most successful people to do it. They get some like mid-level people, and they called me in, and I did it with a comic actually who was more successful than me. Great lady, Kate Clinton, was really one of the first openly gay comedians, really funny lady. And we did it at Caroline's Comedy Club, and we hawked tote bags and books and all kinds of stuff. But you know, they don't have a lot of money and they're just raising funds. So no, we don't plan on doing this. Maybe after today, maybe we'll do this once a year just to refresh people of what we're doing. But no, I don't want to do this all the time. By the way, when we get the new studio, for sure, we're going to do a lot more live streaming in general, and hopefully we can eventually live stream some of the interviews, and we'll live stream some news stuff and some other ideas that we have. But we're not going to be doing the fundraiser thing. So thank you for bearing with me all week. We appreciate it. And also, you know, we know that our feed is fucked up, and YouTube has told us that the feed is messed up, and we know that people are being unsubscribed. YouTube has admitted it to us privately. They won't say anything publicly. They tell us that it's affecting other channels, but they won't say which ones. I'm trying to pretend, or I'm trying to believe that it's not politically motivated. I don't really know. But anyway, that's all one of the reasons why being on Patreon is good for us, because you guys allow us to do this without worrying that, you know, we got to get every freaking click, so we don't have to do clickbait and tag things the wrong way, and a lot of that shady shit that, you know, many places are doing. Amira.
You're an atheist, but what do you feel like the role of religion is in society?
That's a good one. I'm an atheist, but what do I think the role of religion is in society? First off, you know, I know there's several types of atheism, and, you know, the blending of the lines between agnostic and atheism. Some people don't see a major line between it, like Peter Boghossian, who wrote a wonderful book called The Atheist's, not The Atheist Guide to the Universe, How to Create an Atheist. Oh my God.
The manual?
A manual for creating atheists. Thank you. The Atheist Guide to the Universe, that's something else. My feeling about atheism generally is that I just don't believe in something without proof. So if there was some empirically provable way of proving that some higher power was up there and somebody was watching me and cared what sex I was having and what I was doing all day, and it was a conscious thing and whatever, then sure, great. I don't have any proof for that, so I try to find some principles to live my life by that I try to live up to, and I'm sure I fail on them often. But religion can have a very positive role. I mean, go to most soup kitchens. People are doing it in the name of religion. Go to your local church or temple or whatever, and you'll find plenty of people volunteering and raising money for sick people, and, you know, going to hospitals and helping people and all kinds of stuff. So I am certainly not one of those people that think that religion is awful in all cases. I definitely am not. It's brought a lot of good into the world. A lot of horrible things have happened because of religion too. Most wars have some sort of religious bent to them. And I would be for more things that bring us all together than things that bring us apart. But I think there is a role for religion within the idea that whatever it takes for you to be a good person, I would say if religion helps you be a good person, or if secularism helps you be a good person, or I don't mean good like morally good. I mean just a productive member of society, I suppose. Or you just don't have to just don't murder people. I pretty much would be okay with you. So I'm definitely not. I don't care what you believe. You can literally believe anything in the privacy of your own home and in your public life, as long as you're not trying to legislate my life with it. Why would I care what you believe? You want to believe in the flying spaghetti monster? Go ahead. You know, if I believe in anything, it's the Force. So, you know, that's it.
So do you consider people like Steven Crowder and Milo friends? Are they just folks that you share some similar beliefs with, or what's going on with them? I
like that one. Do you consider people like Milo and Crowder friends, or are you just people that, you know online or share political beliefs or whatever? So Milo, I know Milo personally a little better than I know Crowder. Milo has, you know, come over here and had dinner. We've gone out, and we had a great night at the Magic Castle, which is a really cool place where all these sorts of magicians hang out, and really had a fun night. And if you ever want to, for the record, if you ever want to see Milo, actually not Milo-y, take him to a magic show, because he loves magic, and he was very like humble and whatever. But I genuinely really do like both of them. Crowder I've only met in person once, and it was for a few minutes, but we Skype sometimes and talk about business and, you know, some stuff we're doing. I do like them both. I don't agree with both of them on everything, which of course, why would you ever have friends that you only agree with? As
and
I
what
say
are
all
some
the time.
things that you agree with them on?
That I agree with them on? So I would say I agree with Milo's basic premise of what political correctness has done to society. And I agree with that. You know, one of the things that I've said about Milo many times, which is why I've liked doing videos with him and I liked going to UCLA with him and doing public stuff, is that not everyone, like you guys watching this right now, are gonna, you probably appreciate a little more logical thought and thinking things through. I think the UPS man might be here. And having long form conversation and really unpacking an issue and all that. Milo, he throws out purposely incendiary things to get the conversation going. And whether you like those things or not, the fact is that is how some people get affected. So when I was at UCLA with Milo, there were all these kids that were coming up to me after that were like, I really like what you do. I'm a fan of the show and blah, blah, blah. They were like, but Milo was the one that brought me there because he would say these crazy things and I started following him and then I came to you. So I came to sort of classical liberalism. So that's good. That's really good. Someone like Crowder, what do I agree with him on? I disagree with him on a lot of the social stuff, I think, and probably some economic stuff. He's changed my feelings about guns a little bit, where I think maybe before I knew him, I was a little more, I would blame the gun violence on the guns, where I definitely don't do that as much now. I do that more as intent. But either way, it's a moot point. I mean, it's about talking to people you agree with and disagree with and whatever. Anyway, since we know that our feed is a little screwy, if you guys want to share this, if you're on Twitter or Facebook, or if you can share it to your own YouTube feed, is that a thing? Can that be done? Go ahead. Anyway, I'm giving live shout outs to anyone that donates on PayPal or Patreon. So if you find any worth in what we do here, and it's worth a couple bucks a month to you to get some of these ideas out there, feel free to jump in. Quick shout outs to Tyler, who just jumped in on Patreon, and Matthew, who just jumped in on Patreon. Thank you. And we're $220 away from $26,000 a month, and you're going to help build our studio. And I was actually, because I was just at the PragerU place where Daily Wire is, and I did all that stuff over there. They've built a really cool studio, so I think we might learn a little of how they've built their thing to build our things. But I leave it in the hands of Amira, who has designed 87 studios for me in the last year. And reminder, right after this at 6:20, so only 17 minutes from now, we'll be going live just for a small intimate thing for all patrons. Normally it's everyone at 15. We're gonna do it for everybody, just $1 or more, whatever you throw in.
They're gonna get to meet Amira.
And you'll get to see Amira. Last night I did a Patreon thing where I had David and Amira take questions, and apparently people like them more than me. So yeah, what are you gonna do?
How have your views changed over the years, and which stances have evolved the most?
How have my views changed over the years, and which has evolved the most? I would say the thing that I've evolved most on, probably in the last 2 years, let's say, is number one is just that because I was so in it with the progressives. I've always considered myself liberal, but I was obviously in it with the progressives. Even though you can go back and watch any video I ever did on TYT, like I never was somebody that always screamed racism or bigotry or whatever, but I'm sure I did it at some level. I have no doubt. And where I don't do that now, not to say that people can't be actually bigoted or actually racist, of course they can, but it's a crutch and it's easy. And what I now know very intimately is that the reason they use those words is because once you've put that on somebody, you don't have to listen to an argument. Why would you ever listen to a racist argument once you think they're racist? So it's really effective in silence and conversation. So that's one thing that I've evolved on. But I would say the other thing I've evolved on more so that's a little more like a little more tangible would be generally taxes, where I now really do view lower taxes for pretty much everybody. And I might be for a flat tax that has a slight increase when you hit major, you hit 5 million, you can pay more. You hit 10 million, you pay more. Up to 20 million, where you can pay a little more. But that I would be for exempting a lot of very poor people for taxes, maybe under 50,000 or something, and have everyone else pay 15%. And that's it. That's definitely not a progressive value. But I think that is actually a classical liberal value because it's about liberty. So you should earn and keep what is for you. And then hopefully by you having more, you'll hire more, you'll do good for your community and those kind of things. So that's something I've definitely shifted on. It's not thought of as a liberal position, I think, but I think it actually is a liberal position. So, I mean, we know you're a comedian, but we haven't seen any videos. Do you have any plans on doing stand-up in the future or putting up some of your comedy videos? So at one time, there were a lot of videos of me doing stand-up or floating around the internet at different places. We did a pretty good job of taking them down because my career kind of shifted, and I just felt that it would be better to sort of relaunch in a different way one day. So I absolutely am going to get back to stand-up. And what I mentioned, we did the live stream the other day, is that, when I moved to, I did stand-up for about 12 years in New York, and I was pretty successful in New York, and I did a lot of road gigs, worked with a lot of great comics, had some success that got me on SiriusXM and a bunch of other stuff. And then when I moved here to LA about 3-4 years ago, I realized I was going to be like at the low end of the totem pole again. And I've already lived the life of a struggling comic. I spent years of my life, 6 nights a week, sometimes 2 hours a night, handing out tickets in Times Square just so I could get on stage in rain or sleet or snow. There was a night that New York City had a massive snowstorm, one of the coldest nights in the history of New York City. And I was out there handing out tickets, and there was a winter advisory or something to tell people not to be outside, but the tourists are still outside. And my friend called me because he said, Dave, you're on ABC News right now. I'm standing in Times Square handing out tickets because there's a guy out there telling everybody to not be outside, and I see you behind him handing out tickets to do a comedy show. So I lived that life. And when I got here, I was just like, I don't know if I want to do it again. Like, waste every night in the comedy club and have to be there for 3 hours to perform for 10 minutes and all that stuff. But I do love stand-up, and I absolutely will get back to it. And now that my name has more value, I can actually draw. So if I tweeted out, I'm going to be at the Comedy Store, something, people would show. And then once you have that kind of value, then you're worth more to the club, and you have a little more leverage. So I definitely will get back into stand-up. And yeah, I would do political stuff and social stuff, all kinds of other stuff. A couple quick shout-outs. Alec on Patreon and Chris on Patreon. Thank you guys. Welcome aboard. Live shout-outs for the next 13 minutes to anyone that joins on Patreon or PayPal. We're $215 away from cracking 26,000, which would be good for the night. And then the fundraising portion is over for now. Amira.
So T is in here.
Oh, that guy T, that motherfucker. Yeah.
And, do you think taxation is theft?
Well, sorry, T. I'm not fully on board your taxation is theft thing. I just sort of laid out my tax thing. I would be for exempting people basically under around 50 grand, which is a lot of people. Then I would have maybe something like a 15% flat tax to like $5 million, and then maybe you up them maybe 3%, and then at $20 million you up them 3%, and then above 20 up them another 3%, something like that, so that you can pay a little more when you're really, really doing well, and create a little bit of a social safety net for the people that are struggling the most. But I would want something that basically is more fair. And T, you got to admit, for a liberal, that's pretty fucking libertarian of me. Maybe not full-on anarchy that you want with people punching monkeys and robots in the middle of the street, but I think it's pretty good. But you guys should check out T's channel, not while I'm doing this, but after.
How deep do you think their regressive ideology has become ingrained in the gay community?
How deep do I think the regressive ideology has become in the gay community? Hugely ingrained, which, I live in West Hollywood here. It's the gayest place on earth. I live 2 blocks away from a rainbow crosswalk. It's pretty freaking gay. And unfortunately, it really has. But that said, there are a few people fighting back, a few well-known people. Bret Easton Ellis, who's a writer and a director, he's fighting back publicly against it. I am. Peter Thiel, the Advocate, did an absolute hatchet job on him the other day, basically saying he's not gay because he's a Trump supporter. And what absurd, regressive bullshit. Sorry, you're not gay. And first off, being gay means you do one thing, right? You happen to do it with dudes. That makes you gay. Beyond that, whether I like Golden Girls, but that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? I love sports and I love video games and other stuff. So the idea that you're not gay anymore because you don't follow this groupthink political stuff is bullshit. And that's become very mainstream gay. The Democrats really have, and the progressives really have grabbed the gays. But I do meet plenty of gays that don't subscribe to this bullshit. And a lot of people that realize they better wake up quick, because being gay, Milo talks about this, being gay is supposed to be, it's the other, it's about dissent and pushing the limits and being different and weird and blah, blah, blah. And I don't think, even though you can see how different and weird I am, but I don't think that's worth trading so easily. So I hope that we'll be able to wake up some people. Quick thanks to Brian, who just joined on PayPal. Thank you, sir. Everyone that joins is getting a live shout out for the next couple minutes, and then we're going to Patreon right after this. And if you just donate $1 on Patreon, you'll get that live feed. Normally it's for $15, and we got 5 spots open at $100 for our group Google Hangout, which I do once a month, small groups of video. You see everybody. So you see people from all over the world. They see you. We talk about all kinds of stuff. It's a lot of fun. Amira.
What was the most annoying thing that your guest has said, or something that you disagree with so completely?
The most annoying thing that a guest has said, or that I agree or disagree with so completely. Let's see. Most annoying thing, man. Well, I would say this. Ben Shapiro, who I had on, he's not for gay marriage, or at least his argument was kick it back to the states. Like one of these arguments that I know it makes sense in theory that it should be a states' right issue or blah blah blah. Like I get that, and you guys know I'm for states' rights, but to sit across from somebody who I was, you know how I treat my guests. I go out of my way to listen to them and understand them and all that. To sit across from somebody who basically was saying that, my marriage doesn't add a certain amount of morality to the country or something to that effect. I don't want to misquote him here. It was, I don't get offended that easily. He wasn't sending the Gestapo after me. So I wasn't offended, but I was like, it really made me think, wow, here's someone who I really like and respect, even though I disagree. And they really thinks differently than I do. I would recommend you guys go check that one out. All right. I want to thank Brian on PayPal, a different Brian on PayPal who just donated $500. Thank you, Brian. And Brian, if you stick around after the Patreon thing, I'll do a quick, like a 30-second thank you, but then I have to head out for the night. But I'd be happy to thank you privately on Skype real quick. So thank you for that, Brian. Appreciate it. You guys are helping build our studio. It's pretty sweet.
Anyone that jumps in at 100 on Patreon.
Yeah.
Anyone that jumps in at 100 on Patreon will get a private thank you from me on Skype real quick tonight. So I do thank you guys, and you're helping build our studio. We got to soundproof it and wire it, and air condition it, and we're gonna have a green screen in there. We're gonna have a desk area. Hopefully, do some news. We're gonna have our normal interview set. A whole bunch of we're gonna really build out a cool kind of 360.
We got less than 10 minutes.
We got less than 10 minutes until the Patreon chat, so just a couple minutes more over here. What's going on?
Someone says, I'm going to the dispensary. Any recommendations?
Going to the dispensary, any recommendations? I like sativas. Sativas are more of the body high, not the mental high. I know. Oh, I'm sorry. I like indica. Been smoking too much weed. I like indica, which is the body high, not the mental high. Sativa is the mental high. You can also get hybrids, which are a little of both. So I like Granddaddy Purple, which you can take one puff. I really haven't smoked that much weed. I smoke once a week, maybe. I take one puff. I lay on the couch and I watch Seinfeld or The Simpsons. Oh, this is a good one that's coming. So that's what I like, but it depends what you like. I'm friends with plenty of comics who like to smoke sativas and then run around and they're productive and awake and blah, blah, blah. What do you like, Amira?
I like sativa. I just bought Gelato today.
Amira likes sativa. She bought Gelato. That is the weed ice cream?
Yeah, it's in your freezer.
Yeah, there's weed ice cream in my freezer right now. Can I see it? Let's just show it. So it's weed. I mean, here in LA where it's legal, it's medicinally legal. I have a license for it, and Amira does also. So we're not doing anything illegal here. But you can get marijuana in almost every form. So this literally is marijuana ice cream right here. But how do you know how much to eat before you're like whacked out of your mind?
100 milligrams.
So it's 100 milligrams. So I guess you got to figure out what that means to you. But you can see I work Amira hard during the week, and then she eats her marijuana-induced ice cream. So you can take that back. We're 201 away from the 26,000. I think we can hit it. While we're here. So, couple minutes left. Oh, and we have a special person just donated on PayPal. I want to thank Jank Ogre. That's right, Jank Ogre, who just donated on PayPal. And I'll leave it at that. Amira.
What's your solution to YouTube and Facebook's attack on free speech?
What's my solution to YouTube and Facebook's attack on free speech? Okay, so look, I don't know exactly what's happening here, but I do sense that something may be going down. Again, we know that our videos aren't going out to the feed as much. That's why there's only about 500 people in here when we have almost 300,000 subscribers. And I know it's not going out to the feed. They've acknowledged that. They've also acknowledged that people are being unsubscribed from our channel, and they won't tell us why. They won't tell us other channels it's happening to, but they're telling us there's a bug. Now, it's possible that our channel's being hit with a bug, but PragerU, where I just was, and these are conservatives, they're pretty decent people that are conservatives, they're being hit with stuff's being delisted and unmonetized and a bunch of other things. So look, it's not purely censorship. They're not deleting videos, but there could be something else going on here. I'm also pretty convinced that Twitter's doing some sort of shadow banning situation where there are people that I just simply don't see their tweets anymore. So I haven't seen a Christina Hoff Sommers tweet in weeks. I barely ever see Gad's tweets anymore. I only see Sam's tweets occasionally when he's retweeted. So I do think they're trying to shift us all into our little alleys or something. I don't know what they're doing, but like, look, if there's no direct evidence of it, then what am I supposed to do? But I did DM like a couple influential people, and I said, "Do you guys think this is happening?" And everybody in there said they thought it was happening. Quickly want to thank David, who just went up on Patreon. Thank you, David. And we got about 5 minutes left.
You can remind they're going to get to meet Amira.
Oh, and you're going to get to meet Amira and David in just a moment. And you know what? We'll crack a bottle of wine for that. How about that?
Sure.
We'll crack a bottle of wine. It's Friday night. I'm taking them off the clock.
We're still working.
Well, we're still working.
For anyone, only for $15.
Yeah. Well, you know what we could do if something crazy happens on Patreon or PayPal in the next 5 minutes, we do have a bottle, an unopened bottle of Rubin Report Bubbly. But what would that take? What would that take? Can you grab the bottle? Can you just grab the bottle real quick? Okay, cool. Wait, give me another question.
Yeah, in the meantime, can you talk about what an average citizen can do to improve the mainstream media?
What an average citizen can do to improve the mainstream media. The most important thing you can do is share videos. If you don't want to publicly talk about this stuff or whatever, you got to share these videos, whether they're my videos or someone else's videos or whatever they are. We need to get these ideas out there, and everyone knows the mainstream's crumbling, but it's one thing if the mainstream crumbles, it's another thing if nothing decent is there to replace it. So we got to find a way to replace that crap. And
is that answer Trump TV?
And is the answer Trump TV? The answer is probably not Trump TV, but I don't have an inherent problem with Trump TV. David said to me literally a year ago, he said that he didn't think Trump wanted to be president. He thought he wanted to run a television network. He may be right.
Let it be known.
Let it there. It's officially known. Look, if Trump gets a channel and Milo gets on there and Cernovich and Scott Adams and a bunch of other people, I think that would be fine. I have absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. I would love to see a channel that was more about classical liberal values and get people on there that disagree on stuff and agree on stuff and whatever. I think that would be really cool. But the most important thing you could do if you don't want to put your voice out there yourself is share videos. Again, this is what the regressives have done. They have tricked good people like you to think that if you post something on your Facebook page, that people are going to tell you you're racist and you're gross and you're a bigot just because you think something different about abortion or you think something different about taxes. That's horseshit. All right. Right here, I have a Rubin Report bottle of bubbly that has been ice cold in the fridge for a couple months now. This was sent to us by a fan who runs a wine distribution place. So he sent us a couple bottles of different things. But this is Rubin Report bubbly. There are only, as far as I know, there are only 2 bottles in existence. We have both of them. The other one is away. This is the one that is chilled. And for what would we do to pop this open for everybody? What do you think it would take?
I mean, if the next person if somebody joins in on that.
If someone joins in on that, Amira runs a harder bargain than David. I know that.
If one person joins in?
Well, no. If we filled all 5 of them.
Obviously. Obviously, then we definitely call them all. But what do you got? How far are we away from 26?
We're $142 away.
All right, we're $142. We're $142. So can we push this thing to 6:30 just to give a little?
Sure.
All right, we're gonna push this thing to 6:30. We'll go 12 more minutes, but we got to hit that.
How much is it?
How far are we?
So we're $142 away.
All right, we're $142 away on Patreon from our $26,000 goal, and then we'll crack this thing open. Why don't you get
and then the Patreon exclusive live stream? Amir and I will come out and we'll get to ask.
Yeah, and then in the Patreon. Okay, and then
like brunch.
Yeah. Then you can ask them questions about me or anything. So I'm confident this is going to happen. So you can get the champagne glasses, and now I'll keep on. But make it happen, guys. We've been working hard all week. Actually, a little bubbly does sound pretty good. We were thinking actually also of another. We're trying to figure out some other ancillary ways to make some money so that we're not so reliant on Patreon. And we may do some like Rubin Report wine that we would sell through this distributor who's a fan. It would make a fan's business money, and we would take just a tiny little bit. Anyway, bye.
What are your thoughts on like pumpkin beer?
My thoughts on pumpkin beer. I'm not a huge pumpkin guy. Don't love the pumpkin. Don't love pumpkin spice. I don't want it in my coffee.
Very disappointing.
Everything at Trader Joe's, pumpkin popcorn, pumpkin.
Like pumpkin sour.
A what?
The Boulevard Sour.
No, where was that?
The pumpkin sour beer.
The pumpkin sour beer. That was here.
It was
I didn't. It was for the debate. Yeah, I didn't have it. I just don't love pumpkins. I like carving a pumpkin. David's an excellent pumpkin carver. But it's a little gooey in there. I don't need no love for the pumpkin.
How cancerous do you think our comments are in general?
How cancerous are our comments? Our comments are incredibly good. Incredibly good. Even the live stream right now, I venture to say that they're pretty good. I know I'm demanding the trolls do something. But you guys are really on point, and you're all over the place politically, and it's basically really good. And the responses that I get all day long are 90% good. There is this small group of about 20 people, mostly on Twitter, who really hate me. And they misquote me all the time and do all sorts of nonsense all the time to imply that I'm something that I'm not, or they lie about me or whatever. But for the most part, it's pretty good. And that's the thing. Like, I go out of my way not to demonize people that I disagree with. And that's if you consistently lie about somebody or you consistently do dishonest things, then I got to call you out on that bullshit. But I try not to do that as a general rule. All right, we just got way closer. Michael just joined on Patreon at 10. No Good, who's been a big supporter, who's been part of this whole thing, who pushes me, by the way, he sent me some private stuff, and he pushes me. He just jumped up on Patreon to 100, so I'll see you in the Google Hangout, and I'll see if I can push you on something. And Guy Jin just joined on Patreon.
So actually, I think those numbers were factored in when I said we were 142 away, but I just didn't see them. They hadn't come through yet, so we're still 142.
Oh, so apparently we're still 142 away. Now they think we're gaming them, but we're not. But we're gonna get there. I have no doubt. We're gonna get there. We will pop. You will see me pop champagne, which I'm pretty good at.
They can all see it.
Yeah.
Go to the page. They can have a fresh. I see what I see.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
So Dave, you're always about promoting discussion. Thanks, and we need more of that. But what is the point that discussion should close?
What is the point that discussion should close? So I've only had. I'll tell you this. There was somebody that is in the public space that I used to sort of be in the loop with. It doesn't matter who. It's not someone that I worked with at TYT. I'll just put that out there. But there was someone in the public space that I used to debate around a lot, sort of somewhat publicly, and privately we'd email a lot, blah, blah, blah. And we once got into a debate about something. And I thought that not only did I win the debate, but I said after, I was like, if I said anything factually wrong, let me know. And if I misrepresented anything, let me know, blah, blah, blah. He couldn't get me on anything. But I didn't feel like I convinced him of anything. I felt like I just said things and he had his opinion and just wouldn't accept anything that I was saying, even though he couldn't disprove anything I was saying. So after that, I sent him a few articles furthering my point. And I said, if any of this is wrong, let me know. And if you have anything you want to send me, let me know. And I'd be happy to change my opinion if you can prove it. And basically he said, I don't want to discuss this anymore. You know how I feel, and that's that. And I thought this is where that discussion ends. Someone who I've gone back and forth with for a long time, suddenly you found something that we can't discuss anymore, and it's completely the reverse of your what I think your ethos is. And that's where it ends. When it ends when you can't get anywhere else. But I would always, as a general rule, I really, really try. I've told you guys, I've had a couple of friends drop me over the last year, even someone in the last month out of nowhere. Gay, by the way, who I guess felt that, I don't know, I guess I'm anti-gay. I'm an anti-gay bigot. So, you just got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing and saying what you think. There will be more of this, believe me. Every single one of you watching this and all the people that I talk to, we're ahead of the curve on this. What America wants, and forget America, what the world wants is not what Trump and Clinton are offering us, and it's not what the media is offering us. So there you go. All right, couple more minutes. We're going to crack this bubbly if we hit that 26,000 mark. Oh, quick thanks to Franz, who just upped on Patreon to 100 and will be joining us in the Google Hangout as well.
We are $86 away.
We're $86 away on Patreon. There you go. And then we crack the bottle of bubbly, and then we'll talk to you guys in the Patreon live stream. And then we stopped doing our PBS style promotions. This was a week of it. We got a whole bunch of people to join and help build out our studio and spread the message and spread the word, and it's a beautiful thing.
When we hit 30, we'll be able to do more live streams.
Yeah, and when we hit 30, we're gonna be a whole slew of other things and hire far more people and really, really expand. But that's all right for now. One more person, maybe two. We'll see.
So you.
Amira, sorry, we can't pay you anymore.
Wait, yeah. You consider yourself a liberal.
Yeah.
But how do you distinguish yourself from a libertarian as a classical liberal?
That's a great question, and it's very much what I addressed today in the PragerU video that I did. It's funny. They had me write a script, and then I went into PragerU, and I sat down at a big conference table, about 6 people, all discussing my views of liberalism and classical liberalism and their views of conservatism and blah, blah, blah. And at one point I said, in my script, I had said that you as a classical liberal, or I said me as a classical liberal, I have more in common with a libertarian than I do with a progressive. And then I think a couple of them got a little surprised that I'd say that, because they think of everyone on the left. If you're on the left, you'd have more in view with a progressive than a libertarian. But a classical liberal, which Google it, I mean, it's about liberty and individual rights and freedom and your responsibility for your life. That has far more to do with libertarianism. And I think in a lot of parts of Europe, they think that classical liberals and libertarians are the same. So it's partly just how we define the word liberal here in the States. But I would, So what was the question? What do I have as difference from a libertarian?
Like how would you distinguish those things?
Yeah, so I would say that I'm not a full libertarian in that I believe that, it depends what your definition of libertarian is, because there are some libertarians at the convention that don't think we should have driver's license and want to make heroin legal and all kinds of other stuff that I think is a silly non-starter for a legit, if you want to be a real political movement. I am for some social safety net. I don't want to redistribute all the wealth, but I want to have people with the lowest. I want to be able to help them in some way. But that means they could be also helped privately too. So I don't think there's a massive distinction between classical liberals and libertarians. And I think that classical liberals and conservatives are starting to come together in a lot of ways too. And I think that could be a massive successful political party if we had a couple of good leaders. I would love to find someone that's thought of as a little more liberal, let's say, a little more okay with some social stuff, to team up with Paul Ryan, who I think is a pretty decent guy, even if I disagree with him on some stuff, and start a new political party. I think that would be a great movement. I want to thank William, who just jumped in on Patreon, and Mark, who just upped on Patreon. We're $77 away, but we have to start the Patreon thing soon, but we're going to crack this bottle. Yeah.
Well, if we get it.
If we get it. Yeah.
So we have been talking, well, first of all, a minute. Got in a car crash today, and the doctor says he has to stay home tonight. So what should he watch? It's not Star Wars.
Oh no, Amit got his car. Amit got his in a car accident today, and he has to stay home. What should he watch?
That's not Star Wars.
That's not Star Wars. Well, it depends what you have. Is this Netflix or what do you got? So Orange and the New Black, which I just watched last season on Netflix, was awesome.
You're like so late on.
I know I'm late on that. Westworld, we just started on HBO, which is fantastic.
Not Mascots.
Yeah, we watched Mascots last night on Netflix, which is done by the Christopher Guest people that did Best in Show and Waiting for Guffman and Mighty Wind, and it sucked. It was such a. Did you see it?
Oh, Mascots. No,
yeah, watch that. It was such a ripoff of their own shit. It was terrible. What else is on? Oh, you know what? If you have Netflix, watch Black Mirror, which there's a new season coming out. There's about 8 episodes. Oh, it's out already? What?
It's on Amazon Prime.
It's on Amazon Prime?
It is?
I think so.
Okay, so I'm not totally sure where it is, but it's phenomenal. It's about the future, but only like 3 years in the future. So you see like weird technological things that actually feel like they could happen tomorrow. It's very cool. All right, live shout outs for anyone that's left, and help us crack the rare bottle, the one of only 2 in the world, of Rubin Report Bubbly.
Anyone that joins on Patreon is going to get to meet the
anyone that joins on Patreon right now is going to join us for the drinking of this. But if we hit it, that guy T, he upped his pledge. He's redistributing wealth. That hypocrite.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
All right, where are we at? We do take Bitcoin, but my wallet, I got a wallet. It's a lot of shit, and then I don't know how to get the money out. T could probably help. All right, I asked him about that. He kind of laid it out. All right, what else?
So we've been talking a lot about abortion.
Yeah.
What's your reason for women's choice as far as contraception, accidental pregnancies, and ignorance goes? Should taxpayers have to fund it? This guy is kind of agnostic about it. He doesn't want a bunch of unwanted children around. But he doesn't want to morally support ending their life as a reasonable solution for overpopulation. So we've talked about abortion a bunch. Basically, the question is, the person who asked is basically agnostic about it, but what do we do related to people that are using it as contraception and a series of other things? So look, as I tweeted out, I don't love the idea of abortion. I know people that have had abortions, that it is not an easy thing for any woman to do, obviously. The reason that I'm pro-life is I would not want to tell a woman what to do with her body, period. That would be, for me personally. That said, you get to a point when as I now refer to it, the cosmic stew that is inside there, when that starts becoming a viable life. And what do you do? Is it the right of the state to say you cannot do something with your body? Or is it the right of the state to say you must go through with this pregnancy? I think that's an interesting philosophical argument. So I would be for the right to choose, but then at some point, and this is where scientists and philosophers and politicians would have to really get together and figure out the point of sort of no return. But then does the state have any right? Does the state have any, not right, but is it incumbent upon the state then to help someone that is going to be forced to go through with the pregnancy? And can we do more to help with adoptions and all kinds of other stuff? So it's a really complex issue. And I think they actually, believe it or not, I think Trump and Clinton did have a somewhat healthy discussion about it.
And, you know, Clinton obviously is very, very pro-choice. Trump's argument, which I don't even think he's really pro-life, but I think he's pandering to the right on this. But his argument was flip Roe v. Wade, not to make abortion illegal, but to boot it back to the states. But, you know, that's a slippery argument that, as I said earlier, with Ben Shapiro and gay marriage. You know, and everyone picks their 4 states' rights for certain things, but not for other things. So, you know. All right, I'm ready to drink some bubbly. I think we're really close right now. Philip just jumped in on Patreon, and Michael just jumped in on PayPal. So we're very close to cracking the bubbly. Let's not have this thing warm up, people. We've already passed the 6:30 mark. The Patreon people, well, I guess many of the Patreon people are here, so it's okay for a couple minutes.
To what extent should the federal government protect its citizens from the state governments, from abuse from state governments?
Ooh, so to what extent should state governments protect their citizens from the federal government? You know, as I've said a couple times here, I'm for states' rights. I would want to be governed locally. It's more important here in West Hollywood. I would want my own mayor, who I vote for, who I think lives kind of near me, like within walking distance. I would want him to have more control over my life than I would some bureaucrat in Washington. So I think local control is generally good. So I'm for states' rights. You know, so I would be leery of the feds imposing anything on states. Now, I know what some of you were saying. Dave, you just said that the Roe v. Wade thing, you're okay with that. And yeah, this is one of those things where everyone sort of has, maybe I have to flesh it out a little bit more. I think it would just be dangerous if suddenly 40 states suddenly said no, abortion is illegal. I think that would be a problem. And I don't think it would stop poor people. I don't think it would stop rich people from getting abortions, by the way. I think it
$41 away.
We're $41 away. I think it would stop poor people from getting abortions. And then it becomes a class thing, too. So there you go. What's up?
All right, we got to do something to crack this.
All right, we got to do something to crack this because...
how can we crack this?
How can we crack this? What do you need right now, people? I want to crack this thing, drink it, jump over to Patreon. I got to get out of here by... like 7:05 anyway, so
yes, we gotta start this exclusive.
Yeah. So we got to start the exclusive stream. You know what? All right, someone do it. Someone's gonna do it right now. We're gonna crack this. I'm so confident.
What that person get?
Yeah, I'm so confident.
Okay, so
the pledge that puts us over right now.
The pledge
that puts us over.
Yeah, the pledge that puts us over is gonna get a personal thank you from me on Skype, which we'll either do tonight or if the time is too tight, we'll do it over the weekend. And all right, Amira, what do you got? I'm gonna start opening this in preparation because I know it's gonna.
All we need is a pledge over $41.
All we need is a pledge over $41 on Patreon, patreon.com. So.
We just got it.
And we just got it. Who did it?
Gene.
All right, Gene. We love Gene. Gene might be a woman. Oh, Gene with the G. Gene with the G. So that is a man, I believe. Thank you, Gene, and thank all you guys for playing along all week. And this will be a nice way to wrap up the week.
And shout out to Morgan.
So,
and a shout out to Morgan. Thank you, Morgan.
Patrons, because I know there's a lot of patrons in our YouTube chat.
Yeah.
We're gonna post the Patreon specific.
So we'll crack this on the exclusive stream.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because all the patrons get to join us right there right now.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm gonna crack it for everybody.
All right, crack it for everybody, but we're gonna be enjoying it on the exclusive stream.
Woo! There we go. All right. The Rubin Report bubbly. Yeah, and you know when you're pouring a champagne, you have to pour it really to the side to make sure that it doesn't overflow. And you have to talk like that when you're doing it, you know? All right, very good here. David, you can pour the other of those. We'll do a quick toast for everybody here. Amir, I'll take one last question here, and then we're going to jump over to Patreon. And thank you guys for everything all week. It's been kind of exhausting, and I had so many other things going on in terms of having to meet contractors and a bunch of all kinds of business stuff and tax stuff and loan stuff and crazy stuff. But I really appreciate everything you guys everything you guys have done for us to build this thing. And trust me, we're just at the beginning. But this is the beginning. You know, before we were at the beginning of the whole thing. Now we're at the beginning of what really is going to blow this thing out of the water with the home studio. There's nothing we won't be able to do. Last question, and then we will toast.
Yeah, so this guy wants to move to America.
Yeah.
But he's in Britain, and he's worried that the Indian food won't be good here.
A British guy who wants to move here, who's worried that the Indian food won't be good. There are a ton of great Indian places. I used to really not like Indian food, but I've come to really like it. David, it's actually his favorite cuisine to eat. You can see some of the things we're eating at on Instagram. It's David's Cookbook. It's his handle on there. But you'll find plenty of Indian places to eat.
Shit.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
Don't worry, it wasn't the champagne, but Amira did just spill coffee all over the place. All right, so while all right, now you get a bonus minute because
we gotta get
and my phone is in coffee. Oh Lord, what? It better. Oh, it's waterproof. There you go. All right, we gotta go. So here we go, guys. You know what? You guys clean up. I'll do the toast.
Well, yeah, we're gonna enjoy it on the Patreon.
Okay, so we're gonna do it on the Patreon stream. You just have to put $1 in and you get the link. Shout out to
Sean. Shout out to Caylin.
Sean and Caylin, thank you. Caylin, sorry. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody for everything all week. And my phone may have been destroyed in the process of this. There's coffee all over my shoe. And all right, thanks guys. And have a great weekend, everybody.